I'm here with Hillary B. Smith, Emmy Award winner, Indie Soap Award winner. She's won everything. And now she's supervising producer of a new web series, Beacon Hill.
Yeah.
This is the first one you've done where you're only behind the camera.
No. Actually, I did The Grove.
Wow. So you've done 2 web series. Are you really interested in doing backstage stuff?
I am with
producing?
Open Book, with Crystal, yeah. I've been doing the, yes, I love it. It's a lot of work.
I was thinking you were in The Grove, but I guess you weren't.
No, absolutely
Everyone
not.
else was, and I really love that
Everyone else
show.
was.
I really
I was
love
supervising producer, yeah.
So what does a supervising producer do? For those
You
who
start
don't?
out with the script, and you help with script changes and thoughts, and then you have in mind how you want to shoot it. You do the production meetings, making sure that we have locations, things like that. And then when you get there to the set, you help with casting decisions, and then when we get there, I'm on monitor. I make sure that there's a continuity, the creative continuity, what Crystal's vision is, and then I take it to make sure that the shots work, and then I take the product to the edit.
Wow.
And work the edit.
So this isn't just a vanity credit. You did a lot of hard work.
Oh, no, this is a lot of work. I mean, Beacon Hill was 6 months in the making. So even though it took 6 days to shoot, it was 6 months in the making.
So Beacon Hill is a neighborhood in Boston.
Yes.
Right. So you guys shot in and around Boston.
We shot in and around Boston. We shot in Grafton, Massachusetts. We went out and shot in locations that we found in Lincoln, Massachusetts, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Grafton, Massachusetts, and then we came into the city and we shot on Beacon Hill on Charles Street, and then also in the Common, Boston Common,
Wow.
so we could see the Capitol building behind us. And then I'd been in there beforehand and shot B-roll, and we went all over. So you can see from the opening credits, we were on the Cambridge side of the Charles and shooting down the Mass Ave Bridge. We went out to the Boston Yacht Haven and shot back at the city. We were all over the place. Quincy Market, down in Faneuil Hall.
You've done a lot of things. You did prime time, but you've done a lot of years of daytime soap operas.
Yes.
Is it fun for you to be at all these locations and be out and about shooting kind of in this style?
I like being on this side of the camera from the sense of there's usually when you read a script, you have a vision in your head of what you want it to be, and to talk to Crystal and everyone gets, the idea of what they want, and then to be able to go and just capture the pieces. I always like to say producing is like a big old jigsaw puzzle. You have the idea of what it is, but then you've got to take it apart and you've got to create the pieces, make sure the pieces are all going to fit, and then you got to put the pieces back together again. So it's really left brain, right brain. It's fun.
Wow. So you've done, since One Life to Live went off, you've done another season of Fumbling Through the Pieces, did more Venice. Mm-hmm. Are there any other roles in the works for you, or are you going to do some theater? I want to see a New York theater.
I did a theater. I did a production.
You were at
Any Given Monday.
E15.
Yes,
Oh,
right.
Something happened. I couldn't do
Yeah.
that.
Any Given Monday, and I loved that. I had a great time doing that. It's just, it's interesting. The business has changed. It's very hard for women over 40 to get work, because now what happens is...
But how does that impact you?
I know. God, I've loved you and missed you. No, because what happens is the women over 40 who were movie stars are now dropping down and taking the headline series roles.
Yes.
And those women are dropping down and
stealing
taking...
all the Primetime Emmy nominations from Connie Britton.
There you go. And then those are dropping down and taking the Broadway, and the Broadway stars are dropping down to off-Broadway. So,
and the country music stars are taking the live musical theater TV production.
There you go. And so it just gets to the point where we created our own. We created our own place where we could make our own creation. And since everyone seemed to snub their noses at the soap community, we found a place where we could tell our stories and tell them well, even though I think most primetime shows are soaps now. Mm-hmm. They all have stories that continue from week to week to week. We just happen to know how to do it economically.
That's what we do with We Love Soaps. We cover dozens of primetime shows, but none of them want to be known as soaps. I mean, I've even interviewed daytime stars that said, "Don't call us a soap opera." I'm like, so it's like an uphill.
Well, it's not a soap opera because it's not under the. It's first of all, soap operas. The name came from the soap companies that owned it, and it was merely to advertise. It was filler between commercials, and that's not what we are now.
Do you think we'll ever see another soap? Because As World Turns was the last sponsor-owned soap opera. Do you think that'll ever come back around?
Yes, I think. Well, infomercials are exactly that.
That's true.
And BMW had this whole thing on the internet where it was a little movie that you watched that was starring their car. There's a lot of in-product placement.
Even cars are taking the jobs.
Even cars are taking the jobs. No, so it's always there. It's just everyone's looking for new and hip ways to do the genre. And now we've got, Kevin Spacey coming and doing web series. I don't know. So
I know. It's all merging together, though. I think, Well,
they still haven't figured out how to do it economically, and that's where Open Book Productions comes in, because Crystal's been successful at this, and no one else has had the longevity and the tenure that she's had. And she started small and grew it, and I think that's the key. And
So-
nobody knows how to do that.
you know, I was just talking to, I think it was Larkin Malloy on Friday night, Blast from the Past.
That was Larkin.
Fine. So I always ask these people, when are you going to write a book? But I bet you would have a very interesting book if you wrote like your life story. Is that in the works or anything you ever thought about doing?
Oh, no. My family is very, very private, and they wouldn't want any of that. You know, they don't like to be.
Just talk about your coworkers.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Spill the beans.
But if I ever did, I would call it a walk in pretty shoes. Because everything on the outside always looks so pretty. When you see a woman in beautiful shoes, you always go, oh my God, look how pretty and everything. Oh, she's so lucky, you know, she's got this and that and that. And then you don't realize that pretty shoes cause blisters, and you got to learn to walk.
This sounds like
in
Tina
them.
Sloan's book,
Oh,
Changing
she's changing
Shoes.
shoes, and that was a really very pertinent message that she told, which was the diminishment of women over 40. And mine's not so much. My story wouldn't be so much that, even though that is definitely there. Mine is more about how you work to build yourself to that point where you can be diminished.
Tina also does a one-woman show with her story, and it's
Yes.
so amazing. I don't know if you've
It's
seen
wonderful.
it.
Of course,
I
I've
would love to
seen
see
it.
you act out your story from like younger Hillary all the way through now. I think it'd be funny.
I don't know. It might be a little boring. I might be bored. Yeah. Maybe I'd get Julia Roberts.
If you did it as a musical, you just sang your life.
Sweeney Todd.
All right. Well, Happy New Year. Thank you very much.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yay.